Bournemouth vs Newcastle United prediction, team news, lineups Premier League. Another Vitality Stadium homecoming awaits Eddie Howe on Saturday, as Newcastle United make the long trip south to take on Bournemouth in the Premier League's evening kickoff. Both sides are aiming to bounce back from demoralising losses, as the Cherries were crushed 6-1 by Manchester City last time out, while the Magpies went down 2-0 to Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Match preview. When Bournemouth fans purchased their tickets for a trip to Man City's Etihad Fortress last weekend, they were unaware that they had actually booked front-row seats for the Jeremy Doku show. As Andoni Iraola's men were torn to shreds by the brilliant Belgian in Game Week 11. Doku broke the deadlock on the half-hour mark before providing a whopping 4 assists as the clock wound down to 2 for Bernardo Silva, 1 for Manuel Akanji and another for Phil Foden, and there was time for ex-Bournemouth defender Nathan Ake to rub salt into the wounds in a demolition job. A Luis Sinisterra consolation was all that the travelling Cherries faithful had to celebrate on a miserable afternoon, both weather-wise and results-wise, as Iraola's men were given a harsh reality check after ending October with a 2-1 beating of Burnley for their maiden Premier League win of the season. The hosts, who also saw their EFL Cup adventure end with a fourth-round loss to Liverpool last week, are languishing in the relegation zone by virtue of an inferior goal difference to Luton Town. And despite finally breaking their top-flight duck in their last Vitality contest, a measly record of 4 home goals is still the joint worst record in the division. Should Burnley and Sheffield United stun Arsenal and Brighton Hove Albion respectively, Bournemouth risk entering the international break set at the foot of the rankings, although Iraola should still take his place in the Vitality dugout after the third hiatus of the season as rumours of a possible sacking swirl. Iraola's compatriot Mikel Arteta was left fuming during Arsenal's visit to St James Park last weekend, where Newcastle subjected the Gunners to their first top-flight loss of the season through an Anthony Gordon winner. Although Lady Luck was certainly on the Magpies' side as the goal was given after 3 separate VAR checks. Bruno Guimaraes could also count himself fortunate not to have seen red for an elbow on Jorginho's head. But Newcastle's good karma ran out against Dortmund on Tuesday, where Niklas Füllkrug and Julian Brandt condemned Eddie Howe's men to back-to-back European defeats, bumping them down to 4th place in Group F. Before Newcastle turned their attention back to European salvation, Howe's team have a Premier League unbeaten run to extend, as the Magpies' beating of Arsenal made it 5 wins and 2 draws from their last 7 top-flight fixtures, seeing them cement a 6th-placed standing in the table. However, the 2 stalemates in that sequence both came away from home against West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Newcastle only have a pair of wins to show from their last 9 top-flight games on the road, although 13 goals on rival turf can only be bettered by Tottenham Hotspur's 14. The Magpies were stunted in a 1-1 draw at the Vitality Stadium in February, but that one-pointer did at least stretch their unbeaten run versus Bournemouth to 8 matches since a 1-0 loss in November 2017, where a Howe-led Cherries left it late to sink their northern counterparts through a 90th-minute Steve Cook goal. Team news. A hellish afternoon for Bournemouth against Man City also saw young star Alex Scott withdrawn with yet another knee injury towards the end of the first half. Although it remains to be seen whether the former Bristol City man will require another lengthy spell on the sidelines. Thankfully for Iraola, Lewis Cook will return from suspension this weekend and is a like-for-like replacement for Scott. But Tyler Adams' thigh, Ryan Fredericks' calf, Emiliano Marcon's ankle, Neto ankle and Darren Randolph illness are all unavailable. Sinisterra's goal off the bench at the Etihad will benefit the Colombian's chances of displacing Marcus Tavernier on the right. And after his 5-man wall were carved open at will by Man City, Iraola may consider reverting to a 4-man defensive setup here. Howe shares Iraola's pain when it comes to fitness issues, as Newcastle will once again have a double-figure absentee list to work around for Saturday's game, including suspended duo Sandro Tonali and Guimaraes, the latter of whom picked up his 5th booking of the league season against Arsenal. Former Bournemouth striker Callum Wilson only lasted until half-time versus Dortmund and is a doubt for the weekend, while none of Sven Botman-Ni, Dan Burn back, Jacob Murphy shoulder. Alexander Isak groin, Matt Targett thigh, Javi Manquillo groin, Elliot Anderson back or Harvey Barnes ankle will be seen before the international break. Wilson's potential absence would leave Howe without a recognized marksman for the trip south. So either Joe Linton or Gordon could be shoehorned into a number 9 position, while Miguel Almiron was only a substitute in midweek but is sure to return to an injury-ravaged team at the Vitality. Bournemouth possible starting lineup: Radu, Aarons, Zabarnyi, Senesi, Kirkez, Cook, Rothwell, Christie, Semenyo, Sinistera, Solanke. Newcastle United possible starting lineup: Pope, Trippier, Schär, Lascelles, Hall, Willock, Longstaff, Joelinton, Livramento, Gordon, Almiron. We say, Bournemouth 0-1 Newcastle United. Bournemouth could hardly be facing a decimated Newcastle squad at a more ideal time. But the Cherries' perennial defensive woes still makes it difficult to envisage Iraola's side claiming a shock result at the Vitality. Howe's squad is stretched incredibly thin right now. But Bournemouth are hardly in tip-top shape either, and as was the case against Arsenal, the Magpies can strike first and hold what they have to prolong their unbeaten run in the Premier League. Thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.